All right, welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I am Jason Green. It's Wednesday, and here we are live again, sort of live again. And we're going to have a special guest stop by. If you're a regular viewer of the show, you already know Wednesday 13. He'll be joining us live today from Transylvania. Sounds ridiculous. Sounds crazy. Who goes to Transylvania? But apparently, rock music is big in Transylvania. We'll find out. Wednesday's on tour right now, and he's been touring a lot this year, playing the music of his former band, the Murderdolls. And so, you want to check that out. We'll put a link in the description to tour dates, and we'll see what life is like in Transylvania. I'm packing all day, getting ready to go on a cruise, the 80s cruise. I'll talk to you and Wednesday about that and more right after this.
Just wanna waste some time with you. Sometimes it seems too good to be true. Nobody out there can waste time with you.
All right, here he is, live from Transylvania. I've been waiting a whole life to say that. Wednesday 13.
Blah, blah. I'm
Yeah,
here.
they must be so sick of all the tourism that, well, maybe not. Maybe they embrace it.
I'm not sure. We went walking into town today, and it still feels like Superman 2 walking around the way those people did. That's what it felt like. Everyone's staring at them like, hey, who are those individuals in all black?
Mhm.
And it never fails, even in Transylvania.
Yeah, kneel before Zod. Um,
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I know a little bit about Transylvania. I think I messed around with a Romanian chick once, and I assume that's my knowledge. That's where I learn everything. I assume
Yes.
though that everyone knows Dracula and lives in a castle. Obviously that's not true, but anyone I
No.
meet who happens to be slightly Romanian or Transylvanian is definitely a vampire. It's probably racist, but it's what I believe. Anyway, a little bit of history. You said you were too far away to really go see some of the castles and some of the tourism. Uh, uh,
Yes.
for the most part, it's all bullshit, from what I hear. It's hard to, Bram Stoker created Dracula, a long time ago, and I know that Vlad the Impaler, who is a real person, is the sort of the inspiration for Dracula. But they have these castles in Transylvania that you can visit that they sort of call Dracula's castle. Whether it's true or not, who cares? I think it would be fun to see something that at least is playing into the fun and the hype of this great myth. It can't be any crazier than going to visit Romeo and Juliet's wall, where people go and leave love letters when Romeo and Juliet obviously are completely fictional characters. But I think it's fun to play into tourism, and when you're in a place like that, you've been touring for a long time. I'm sure you've seen the increase in tourism in places you go since everyone has a YouTube vlog and everyone has a cell phone camera. It's encouraged to go to take pictures at cemeteries and famous homes, things that we were probably doing our whole lives.
Yes. And yeah, it's I mean today it's a Monday here in we're in I don't know how you say it yet. I normally Google how to say the name of the town if I can't pronounce it on the way to the stage, because I
Mhm.
always ask people and they say it weird, but Google says it and I sort of translate it out. Um, but yeah, we're in a place called Cluj, Romania,
Mhm.
which I guess is part of the Transylvania area. Like it's there's so much stuff here. Once we were going to stay in the Czech Republic yesterday, but I convinced our tour manager, twisted his arm, was like, let's go to Transylvania. Let's get as close as we can. But we're still I still think we're an hour or so out from like the castles and stuff you were speaking about. But we did go into town the day. I sent you a few pictures of some of the weird stuff we saw, and but yeah, it's for me coming here, you would think, it's all Dracula on my mind, but more so I had the movie Transylvania 65000 in my head, which I watched earlier today, and that was more of of a thing for me here because I'm an idiot.
Does it
And yeah,
hold?
if
Does it
you're
hold up? I haven't watched it since I was a kid. Does it hold up?
Oh, well, Kramer or Michael Richards, his parts in it are legendary, and yeah, it's still cool. I didn't know that the guy that played Ogre in Revenge of the Nerds is the Wolfman, and that
Mm.
as well. I have an autograph of him as the Wolfman. Just to even show how much nerdier I am about this movie. So yeah, that was the one thing that was on my mind more than Dracula today was to go. You know what? I want to get a hotel. I want to be able to take a good shower. I want to watch Transylvania 65000. I'll go into town, and I did all that. And now it's late here, and my jet lag is still not good. We just moved an hour from yesterday. We were in Finland last week, and that was an hour difference. Then it went back to normal Europe time. Now we're up an hour. It's yeah, and then we just came from Australia on top of it. So my brain has just been, I don't know. I just kind of start shutting down after a certain time. So that's why I was like, we can do the show. And we'll try to figure it out a certain time to do it when I'm not sleeping, or it's a complete opposite schedule of Los Angeles time.
Yeah, we're definitely on the opposites, but and we both keep ridiculous hours as it is. So I guess we make it work. I should point out that you have an album. It's Wednesday 13's debut album, Transylvania 90210, and
Yes.
so it's fitting that you would be in Transylvania. One of my favorite clever titles. Long before I was a fan of your music, I thought that's a good title. I've said on the
Thank you.
show, yeah, I've said on the show many times, we have an arranged friendship. Stevie
Yes.
Rochelle thought that we had a lot in common, and he's quite the matchmaker. And it turns out we did have a lot in common, and so we now talk about pop culture and horror movie references and things like Transylvania 65000, which most people have
Yes.
probably have no idea what we're talking about. I remember that movie, and I remember Once Bitten. I remember
Yes.
those two right around the same time, sort of and Saturday the 14th, I think a little earlier, but
Hmm.
Saturday the 14th is a great movie too. Richard Benjamin. Uh,
Yeah. Transylvania 65000 was also, I found out, was the name of a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I was watching a Bugs Bunny marathon recently, and it was episode was called Transylvania 65000. I'm like, so,
yeah.
and then I found out after I named my album, about a year later, I found out that Elvira had released a book called Transylvania 90210.
Uh-oh.
But I've never seen it. I just saw it online, and I was like, oh, great, now I'm going to get sued. But I never did. So maybe it
Mhm.
never came out. I have no idea. But the funny thing was, you heard that title, you understood it, you thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. But I guess whenever I didn't think about it because that record went all across the world, which is because that was my first album on Roadrunner. And when I went to Europe to do press for it, people didn't know what I was talking about. They were like, so tell me about your album, Transylvania 90,210. And I'm like, okay. And I try to explain it, and they're just looking at me like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? It was just like boom. So it worked where it worked, and it didn't make sense for,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, you do have a huge European and international audience, and it's true. Even a zip code in general, whether they knew the TV show or not, even a zip code makes no sense. But I always say in
Exactly.
America, we sort of we think that we're it, and until you get out and travel as much as you do and see these places, you go, oh yeah, there's a lot more to this great big world, as they say.
Yeah, it makes me think about everything now. The way I write songs, and when I, even the audiences are different over here. It's just like when they hear a kick drum and just a regular beat for a song, they're just it's crazy. It's just like instilled in them. So when I write songs and I'm writing and I'm thinking about a live setting, I'm like, oh, that's gonna work. That's gonna be a fist in the air part. And it works.
Talk about an education, people go to college or whatever these overrated institutions are. You see the world and get firsthand education. It's funny as I was uh, reading an article about your career, and you were on the show, and if people want to see a longer interview, that's on this channel. But you were a kid, grew up in North Carolina. You lived in a trailer park, right?
I
And you
lived in
watched.
not even a park. I lived in a single wide trailer behind my rich cousin that my father worked for. So he sort of had
Wow.
the land and put a trailer out there in the middle of the woods, cleared out the area for us, and that's where I grew up. And imagine that I went from there to talking to you from Transylvania now. It's
Well, well,
crazy.
that
Rock and roll has been very well to me. So
yes, well, that's what I couldn't help but think. You worked in Hot Topic. You were a normal working guy, and you played music. You sort of taught yourself. You grew up on glam bands. One of the things when I was younger, Murder Dolls was kind of a buzz. Everyone's talking about it, and I looked at you guys in the dreadlocks, and I said, I don't get it. This is not. This is not for me. But
right.
then I got to know you and realized that you're a fan of the same music that I am, and you've
Yeah.
incorporated a lot of things and did a lot of smart business, and obviously Joey Jordison, a big part of that too, and appealing to um, a Slipknot audience and things like that. But you played so much music, and he discovered your band, and his mother was a fan of yours as well. In your audition process, you were going to be the bass player for the Murder
Yeah,
Dolls,
I
and
was. Yeah.
you were, yeah, not long though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was the bassist when I first came in with that. That was the craziest thing. I was like, "Hey, we want you to do this. We want you to play bass." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." And then I guess Joey would he felt bad. He felt bad for a little bit because he's like, "Well, how about if I get you a really cool bass?" And I'm like, "All right." So he got me the Nikki Six Thunderbird uh, one that first came out, and that was the bass I played for the short time that I did play bass with that.
Do you still have it?
It was his. I
Oh,
thought he
okay.
bought it for me, but
He lent it to you.
turns out he bought it for him to let me use. And then once I became the singer, he's like, "I'll take that back now." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Talking about the Murder Dolls, you ready for a segue? We
Hmm.
did a show here in Las Vegas last weekend with Night Ranger, Stephen Piercy and Night Ranger at the Stratosphere Hotel, and you're wondering where the hell can you get Murder Dolls out of Night Ranger? And
Hmm.
it
Okay.
turns out that one of the original members, I suppose, of the Murder Dolls is the monitor guy for Night Ranger. Did you know that?
I did not. He's a traveling, touring with them, or just
I
doing
think
the show.
so. I think
Okay.
he is because he had a Night Ranger T-shirt on, and I remember. Well, remember, I feel like sometimes sound guys are the biggest jerks you encounter in the music business. I feel like sound guys and agents can usually be jerks because they're usually are frustrated musicians, or they're usually angry that someone gets more attention than them. And
Hmm.
so, not always, by the way. I've seen some great sound people, and also a lot of people travel with their own. But sometimes
Yes.
you get to a venue and you see a person who doesn't really care about rat or anything else, um, and they just want to, and then they look at you with this look if you ask for something. And sometimes monitor people are that way. I'm not saying he was that case, but I
Right.
always
Right.
tread lightly when going to talk to a monitor person and asking for something, because
Mhm.
you just never know what you're going to get. But I had no idea, and that night we went to this little after party that Carrie Kelly threw, and
Oh, yeah. Kerry Kelly was in Alice Cooper when we were touring with him, and one tour at least one point. Yeah, because I remember we destroyed a hotel room, and I had to pay for a television that Kerry Kelly did more of the damage than I did. I kicked it, but he threw it initially. But that's all the
Yeah.
story I remember. Yes,
Yeah, well, I'll have to confront Kerry about that. But
it's true.
he is in Night Ranger, and so he had this. It wasn't really his party. I mean, he picked the spot to get together in the lobby. I normally don't go to anything, but I figured, what the hell? I'll be sociable. We're in Vegas, and Eric
Right.
Singer was there. The fake cat
Mhm.
man.
Yes. Oh, losing my phone there.
Oh,
Sorry. Hold
we're
on.
actually,
Hold on. Hold
we're
on.
actually
There we are. I lost you there for a minute. I'm trying to get this back up here. All right.
Yeah, no, you're all good.
Bear with me here. I don't
Yeah,
have my normal traveling tools here. All right, let's see.
well, what's
All right,
interesting
might be a
is,
little sideways there. Here we go. All right.
well, you're fine. What's interesting, as I said it to you a little earlier, you have a better connection than Carlos Cavazzo, who is a few miles away, and yet you're in Transylvania. We've had you on the show overseas now a few times, and we've never had knock on some wood, a
Yeah.
technical glitch. But anyway, Carrie Kelly and Eric Singer was there from Kiss, and bunch of other people, but at some point, uh, Johnny Monaco says, "Hey, this guy, is Wednesday," and I was like, "Really?" I just didn't associate it,
Hmm.
and then I'm like trying to figure out who he is, and then Chad Stewart was there also.
Oh,
He was
Chad. Yes.
drinking. Yeah, like,
Mhm.
imagine that. And he said, and then I said, "Wasn't that guy in Faster Pussycat?" At some point, and he said for about a minute, and then it kind of it sort of came back to me. But what a strange world of where are the murder dolls now, and
Yeah.
who knew? The answer is a Night Ranger. But uh, I watched this concert. It got recommended to me on the YouTube, and it
Hmm.
was a tribute show to Ben Graves, and probably the last time you performed with any of those lineup
Yes.
guys.
Hmm.
And it was funny is because Alex Kane was playing guitar. Joey was still alive though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But
I
he
had
was
just seen Joey just a couple of months before that, because we were on tour. We had just came off tour. That's why we didn't have that thing earlier, because I was on tour and they wanted me to be a part of it. And so I had just saw Joey, like I said, maybe a month and a half before that. We'd stopped at his house. It's the first time I'd seen him in a while too.
yeah.
But
So
yeah, yeah, and so yeah, I saw Joey for that a couple months, and I asked him about coming to the thing, and he brought it up. He's like, "Yeah, I'm really sad I can't be there," and he made up a bunch of reasons why he couldn't be there. Whether they were true or not, but he did feel bad that he couldn't be there to do that.
yeah,
But
and so
yeah, yeah.
Alex Kane from Life, Sex, and Death, who's been a big topic on my show lately because of
Hmm.
Stanley. Alex Kane was filling in for the night, and then Johnny Kelly on drums, which I thought was really cool because he was close with Ben Graves,
Hmm.
and obviously he's a good drummer and was probably just learning some of those songs, and you could see he was sort of following uh, the band. But it was entertaining watch. I maybe it wasn't the most comfortable place in the world for you at the time, but
No.
yeah, you made it through. And um, what amazes me about Murder Dolls is how young your fans are, because I see
Hmm.
them at shows and I see them online, and someone will follow me and they'll say their favorite bands, and it'll be things like Motley Crue or Rat and the Murder Dolls, and it amazes me that you guys have appealed to something, and it's a band that hasn't been together in quite some time. The debut record is 20 something years old, right?
Yeah, it'll be 22 this year.
It's
You
crazy.
know.
But yet you've left this following. What's great, and then we'll talk about random bullshit. Wednesday's like I got stuck in another Murder Dolls conversation. But what's so great is that your solo career has become, so big because you don't have to rely on Murder Dolls or anything like that. I mean, obviously you're playing the music as a tribute for the fans and for the fallen members, Ben and Joey. But you've
Yeah.
people love Wednesday 13 music, and it's so great that you're able to do that, and that these young fans get to see you. And maybe if you're got a chance to see Wednesday, go see it. It might be running out of time to hear him play these Murder Dolls records. He's gonna have a
Yeah,
new
I don't,
record.
it's weird because I really wasn't, this wasn't this big long thought out plan to do this Murder Dolls tour and set. It was literally done because Joey passed, and I wanted to go out and do that. But I guess the thing in my brain, for me, because so close to the music because I wrote Murderdolls, I write Wednesday 13, and people go, well, what's the difference between the two bands? And I used to always say, well, Joey's not part of Wednesday, and that's, and I don't think that's necessarily true now because being playing these songs since October now and being to the States and Australia, halfway through Europe now. Um, and I have, like the band, like Cradle of Filth. We're on tour with them. We're sharing a bus. We've toured with them in the States. They toured with Wednesday 13 and on my Necrophase or Condolences record. And I was talking to their guitarist the other day, and he's like, I love this. I love Murderdolls. He goes, it's fun. It's 80s party. And I'm like, that's what he heard. And this is the guy in Cradle who's from the Czech Republic. So he's giving me his, and he's like, but Wednesday 13, I really miss. I love it. It's very, and he was explaining the different, and I guess it just hit me right then. I went, whoa, it is really different. It is a different thing. It's a lot of the same ingredients, but it's a different output. And this Murder Dolls music just brings in, like you said, some of those fans going, my favorite bands are Motley Crue and Faster Pussycat and Murder Dolls. And it's like, it does somehow fit because those were my favorite bands. And we somehow twisted that, and the showmanship on stage, the stage show, the way I move is so, it's of that era, and people just they see that it's instantly, and it's not something that we fake or try. It's a natural thing for me, and so we're getting a lot of fans that like the old school stuff that we grew up on. But there's this whole new group of kids. I guess their parents turned them on to it, and I thought it maybe was just in the States, but it's in Australia. There's young kids. There's all my meet and greets here have been young kids with their parents. So it's working, or I might get another 21 years out of this,
I think you might.
which is
Well,
good.
you're a vampire in a sense, if you think about it. I mean, it's very fitting if you think that you keep these young people are keeping you alive, keeping you out there. But
Yeah.
what's funny is, imagine we had to tell our parents that we wanted to go see the band that sings about death and blood and monsters and all those topics. It would have been a little different, especially grandparents. But
Oh yeah.
now people our age have kids, and if you have kids,
Yeah.
you have one, you have a daughter, and you have a grandchild. Um,
Hmm.
if your daughter came to you and said, "I like one of these crazy bands," I don't think you'd be so fazed by it.
No, no. She tells me like I said, my granddaughter is more into what I'm into. My daughter, opposite spectrum. She likes rap music, and she's like, "Oh, I like this rapper, blah 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 blah." And I like that. I'm just going, no, I'm not shocked by it. But I'm like, I wish you liked tough.
Mhm, mhm, yeah.
you know. So no, there's nothing that shock. And it's funny that you say the same thing. It's like our parents would have hated Murder Dolls. Everything we were about, we would have loved it, but it was. But that's the way I used to write. I used to write with pissing the parents off. Like, what would my mom and dad hate to see?
Mhm.
That's what I'm going to write about, and that's was the ingredients of what we do. Now it's not so offensive, but I'm still going to keep trying. I still got a lot more a lot more songs with fuck in it, and more to come. I've only written like 20 so far.
I would love to, yeah, yeah. I would love to do like a post interview with some of the families when they leave. So the parents are, "What did you bring me to?"
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Uh, but it's all in good fun, and I think that anyone with some common sense, although that's not so common these days, would get that.
No.
Anyway, I didn't want to talk. I hit you with a million questions about murder dolls and things, but it is funny that I'm sort of getting my education in it now and through Night Ranger.
Yeah.
but but anyway, yeah, I'm glad to see that these tours are doing so good. It's really fun to watch on your
Oh,
social media stuff, the
it's
clips.
been crazy, man. We did 11 shows so far. I don't even know how many countries. I'm trying to count. We started in Poland, but we came back to Poland. We did Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland, We just did the Czech Republic this weekend. Um, we are in Romania now. We go from Romania to Istanbul, Turkey, in a couple of days, which is crazy to think that. And then we're in Greece for a couple of days. So this is just blowing my mind that I'm traveling to these places and there's concerts here, and the smallest crowd for this show was the biggest show I had in the States for my own. So it's been 700-800 people at the smallest every night, and I think the biggest show we did was like 1,800 the other night.
Yeah, it's it shows you the global impact of music. It's
Yeah.
funny, you literally are traveling planes, trains, automobiles, boats, any means of travel possible. And you sent me
Yeah.
some videos going through this ice. It didn't look like there was any room for the boat to move with all the ice.
Oh,
You, you
it was
texted me,
terrifying.
yeah,
Yeah.
you texted me this video. At first, I didn't even know what I was looking at because it's literally a sea of ice. You said that they told you it was safe for the boat to
Yeah.
travel. I
Yeah.
told you, yeah, I told you that's what they said about the Titanic.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
did make it.
We did. It's a normal thing, but like when we got into Finland or going into Finland, we went from Estonia into Finland. It's like a 2-hour ferry ride. You take the bus on, everybody gets off. It's like a cruise ship, 10
Mhm,
floors or whatever. And I'm literally getting Burger King, and sending you a video of look out this window. It's just
mhm.
ice, and it went
They
on
showed it.
for a while, like an hour, and then we hit a spot and it just went away. And it's they say it's worse sometimes, but it's still not an uncommon thing. And when we got into Finland, it was like -5 degrees. And we just went from Australia where it was 105 Fahrenheit, like it's hot, and then straight to here. So it's been I feel like I've been in a dream,
And I
So
don't think you dress. I don't think you dress appropriately for this weather. I saw you in your studded hoodie and hat, and I was like, he doesn't look like he's brought a very warm jacket.
Well, I think on the boat that day, I had a couple of layers. I do keep warm in that, but I did get a new leather jacket that I got to walk around Transylvania in today and look cool. So I did bring enough clothes, but today's the first day that it's been like 40 or 50, which has been warm for us. Like it's
Mm.
really been snow and ice, and uh, I saw the sun for the first time yesterday. That's the first time since I've been here. I saw the sun.
That could be depressing if it wasn't for all the people and accolades of who are happy to see you and the great energy. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know. I think
weird.
I would slip into a depression.
It's weird. It like I got so happy when I saw the sun, and I have a little window in my bunk, which is pretty cool, so I can actually open it up and see, what. And I opened it up yesterday, and the sun was out. I couldn't wait to go out in the sun. It was just, and then it went away.
Mhm. Yeah, you gotta enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta enjoy it while you can. How much longer? When do you come home?
I think we have it's 20 shows of the tour. We've did 11. So 9 more shows, couple travel days. So last show is on the 8th. We have a travel day, the 9th and the 10th. So we're basically, I think the last show is the 8th in Slovakia, and then we are riding to Berlin, and where we drop gear off, and we're flying out of Berlin on like the 10th. So I think 13 more days, if I counted correctly. So perfect amount of time. But again, we get to play some super cool places. Like I said, we'll be in Turkey next week, which is who would have ever thought would be there? And I've looked it up. I think I was telling you, it's like known for cats. So I
Mhm.
can't wait to go out and just go play with cats all day. I'm looking forward to that more than the show, actually.
It's funny is that people would think, I'm about to go back on the road. You would think that two people touring would talk about girls. You would think that most of the time we talk about, all the crazy shenanigans and debauchery going on. Instead, we're trading cat videos and talking about
Yeah.
all the cool places. that I guess this is growing up, as they say. But
Yeah, I'm obsessed with cats.
mhm.
That is, and when I heard that Istanbul is full of just feral cats and they're everywhere, and just that just sounds so cool to me. So I get up early anyway, so that gives me a reason to go around and play with cats. I'll be
Yeah,
sure to
talk
send you
about.
videos. Be prepared for that day for cat overload videos.
Oh, I'm ready. Yeah, no, believe
Yeah.
me, we're looking forward to the cat videos. Yeah, so while we're recording this, I'm packing my washing machine
Mm.
broke, and so they have to replace it. So I had to go buy basically new clothes to go on this cruise. Not clothes, but socks and underwear and things like that. And
Yes.
I mean, I could go to a laundromat, but that's so yesterday. So I bought all bought all new clothes, and I'm packing, and it's strange because we're going to go to Orlando, and the thing that I'm going on is called the '80s cruise. It runs
Okay.
the same exact days as the Monsters of Rock cruise, which is
Weird.
weird and kind of bad
Yeah.
billing. I'll be on the Monsters of Rock cruise in 25, and anyone watching, you should write to the people at the cruise and tell me you want to see Wednesday 13
Put me on
because
it.
I think you would be great on there. The Monsters of Rock cruise, it reaches an international audience. Some people don't get it when they see Hardcore Superstar, a band you'll be on tour with later this year,
Yeah.
and some of the other good stuff. Shiraz Lane and Crash Diet and Reckless Love,
Yeah.
I think it was called. A lot of those
We
bands,
yeah, and we
yeah,
played with all of those bands in the past. I mean, I think some people just, like you said, they see the dreadlocks and the corpse paint sometimes, and they don't realize that the ingredients to what we do is basically those bands, the headliners
mhm.
for those shows.
I think people would love it. I think there would be excitement and a little something different. So we're gonna have to figure that out. But that's in 25. We got to get there
Mhm.
first. But so this cruise that I'm going on is called the '80s cruise, and I went through the list, and basically it's like two people from every genre. So the heavy metal or hard rock bands is Sebastian Bach and
Okay.
Stephen Pearcy. And I'll tell you, Wednesday, Sebastian Bach unfriended me on Facebook. We used to be, yeah, on
Oh
his
no,
personal account. We used to be friends. I think he's mad at Stevie Rochelle. I had a feeling by having
he's
Stevie
always
on the
been mad at Stevie Rochelle.
yes, and I
So
knew that by having Stevie on the show, that he might get mad, and maybe he doesn't like my impression of him. But it's all in good heart. I really like Sebastian. I've always defended him. I don't, I like the guy, and I think Skid Row needs him. But
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Sebastian fan. I started singing because of him. I wanted to be like him. It was like that was another one of the main ingredients. But you know, if you can't take a joke or laugh at yourself, and it seems like he was getting better at it. 'Cause didn't his new video? Didn't he have Craig Gass making fun of him walking down this, doing the
yeah,
perfect Sebastian impersonation? I mean, that is how he is.
I thought
I
that
don't know.
he I thought that he was embracing it, but I can't put people on my show because someone else doesn't like them. If I did that, I'd have no guests because there's always someone who doesn't like someone.
Yep.
I'm just here to, I'm just a journalist here to talk to people. But anyway, he
Yep.
unfriended me, and now I'm on a boat with him for 8 days. So I'll I'll keep you posted because he could have some wine and yell at me. You never
He
know.
could. He's a big. He's tall. You're tall too, so maybe he doesn't look as tall to you. He looks
He's
very
tall to
tall to me.
me. No,
Yeah.
I'm 6'1", and I think he's 6'4". They say he's 6'3", but he's a big guy and a big presence,
Yeah.
and he's always been nice to me. I've always liked him, but for some reason, Facebook friends are hard to keep, and so anyway. But so those are the rock bands, and then
Uh,
the band that I'm most excited to see is a band called Real Life, and
real.
Real Life
Okay.
had a song "Send
Uh,
Me an Angel."
oh, send me an angel right
Mhm.
now,
Yep.
right now. Okay, I know the song. I didn't know their name
And
of the band.
they were I had no idea either. I knew that song. It was on the soundtrack to the movie Rad. Remember Rad, the bicycle movie?
Oh, most definitely. Yes.
There's a there's like a dance scene with BMX bikes while they play that song. But they figured out to just keep putting that song out. There's another version called "Send Me an Angel" '89. He just kept recharting with it. But it's that
Wow.
great, yeah, it's that great new wave.
Yeah, I
Uh,
would think that was like Depeche Mode or something. Like just
mhm.
because I don't know. I know the song.
So I researched it because when you go on these cruises, everyone sees each other. Once in a while, you get someone who's a little stuck up and hides, but for the most part, you eat together, you see each other. It's part of the experience is that everyone kind of hangs out, and most people
Yeah.
are really nice. And it's fun to see people you don't normally see on these kind of music cruises. This will be my third. I like to see bands that I wouldn't normally see. Give them a chance, and I tell you, I always leave with a new interest in somebody. And so I studied this band Real Life. It's one guy, he's Australian, who's still he's the singer and the guitar player. He sounds great and looks great. When we get there on the boat, the artists go in the morning, and then you have this artist luncheon where all the quote unquote talent get together. And it's good for me
Awesome.
because now I'm going to be prepared and know who the hell is who. Soft Cell, like I mean, I don't think I would
Wow.
have recognized Soft
Soft
Cell,
Cell
but
did Tainted Love, right?
Tainted
Is
Love,
that?
yeah. I mean, these are sort of, like I said, new wave and even goth kind of legends. You know, those two, and then there's a lineup of the English Beat on the boat. I don't know so much about that. I don't think
Yeah.
it's the complete. I think it might be like one guy, a Boy with Pumpkin kind of lineup. I don't
Right,
think it's
right. Well,
that
Soft Cell
complete.
probably got a resurgence with Marilyn Manson doing Tainted Love and making that huge. I think it
Yeah,
was probably even bigger outside of the U.S., like in Germany and places like that. Like that is like the number one goth like dance song is
it's huge.
Manson's
Yeah.
Tainted Love. Yeah,
And there were some other covers of it too that were it's that song is enough to have an entire a career. Soft Cell is just two guys also, so like Pet Shop Boys. One guy
yes.
sings, one guy programs, and it's interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Then Debbie Gibson. It's the
Oh,
35th anniversary of
out
Electric
of the
Youth.
blue, out of the
Yeah.
blue.
Could you imagine? It's been 35 years. Boy, we're old. You
I
know.
remember my neighbor when I lived in the trailer. My neighbor got that on cassette, and I was like, "Whoa, what's that? A cassette? That looks neat." It's like one of the first cassettes I saw with a clear case. I think
Hmm. I
before,
remember
because
those.
before
Yeah.
it was like the cream case or the black case, for the cassettes. You couldn't see what's inside.
You're right. Yeah, I'm a Debbie Gibson fan, though. I'm going to be right there, front row for the 35th anniversary of Electric Youth. She looks
Yes,
great. I will say that.
yes, she
She
does.
she's doing something right. And then
Mhm.
Ray Parker Jr. is on this cruise. Yeah, Ghostbusters.
That's pretty cool.
And sometimes Ray Parker Jr.'s bass player is a guy named Freddie Washington, who's one of my favorite bass players. I call him Ready Freddie. And
Mhm.
he played the bass on a song called Forget Me Nots, which is one of the best bass lines ever. But they sampled that for the Men in Black soundtrack. So the song Men in
Oh.
Black from the movie, that bass line is this guy, Freddie Washington. So I'm hoping that he's on the cruise. It's fun to see who's in the different bands. A lot of people who are going on this '80s cruise could care less about the bands. They're
Mhm.
there to celebrate the '80s, and more than that, they're there to get drunk. This is a booze cruise. There's pub crawls. There is a John Hughes themed prom, and they encourage people to dress
Ah,
as their favorite John Hughes characters. It says maybe you want to be Samantha from 16 Candles or whatever, or this. And then
right.
it said, or maybe you prefer to be a Griswold. And I thought, this is my party,
Or you could go as John Cusack from Better
say
Off
anything.
Dead and
Oh,
go
better
on
off dead.
one ski.
That's right. That would be a good one. That'd
That
be
would
good.
be weird. Yeah.
And
And
somebody
have
might
someone chase you demanding $2.
don't rule it out. It could happen. These cruises get pretty
Uh,
wild. So, and it was tricky writing a set for Stephen Pearcy because he's been playing the Out of the Cellar record in every city, but
Mhm.
cruise like this, a lot of these people know lay it down and around, and that might be it. They're
Yeah.
casual fans, although hard rock is sort of, people learning about it. This is an 18 and over cruise as well. So
Yeah.
maybe 21. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I think you got to be 21 maybe because you got to drink. And Monsters of Rock cruise is all ages and it's a more family oriented. This one I think is going to be a little crazier. But so um, I think 38 Special and Air Supply are
Oh,
on
that's
there.
cool. They've got
Yeah,
some
I
good
think it's
songs.
cool.
Yeah.
When I think of the 80s, I think they need like Bobby Brown or something like that, Cyndi Lauper or something a little bit more. But
You had to,
they
didn't 38 Special have the main track for Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise, Take Me Back to Paradise? Wasn't that 38 Special?
I believe so. It's you and I talk about the dumbest things. I thought you were going to go
Y-
for Teachers. Remember the movie Teachers?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Ralph Macchio, Nick Nolte. They wrote a song called Teachers off that soundtrack. We don't care about all this hold on loosely. We're in it for
Yeah,
Nerd
well, that's the
Paradise.
gems. That's the golden gems. That's yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
But
speaking of drinking, you said everyone gets drunk on those cruises. I think that may be another reason why the audiences here are so into it because there's bars within bars within bars of these places that we play. And I think drinking age is 18 here.
right.
And everybody is just ready for a good time. But like just walking out today, I was telling my guys, I'm like, man, if you wanted to drink, just come to Europe because you can find a bar anywhere. It just seems
Now
like that.
you don't drink. Is
No,
it is it is there temptation to you or what is it like?
I mean, I do miss a good time of drinking when I today I was walking around, I was like, man, I was like, if I wanted to get drunk, this could be a place where there would be no end to it. But I know immediately when I finished that sentence, I know how I would feel the following day and just it just doesn't work for me. Like I've told you, I've drank enough in my time for many, many lifetimes, I feel like in a short time that I did drink. But yeah, it's just it doesn't work for me. And I see people on tour that get drunk, and the following day I see them fighting it, and it reminds me. But I think more so, what reminds me of anything, and not to bring this morbid, but like I just went into Finland and was reminded of my friend Alexei who just passed away, and
Yeah.
he passed away from alcoholism. I mean, there's no other easy way to say it. And I was hanging out with UC from 69 Eyes, and we were talking about him, and he used to be a guy that I partied with too. Me and that guy, we were telling stories we forgot. I'm like, oh my god, we should never tell that story outside of these doors. But we've known each other for over 20 years, and he said the same thing. It's like we got too many ghosts around us. We were talking about James Kotak passing
Mhm.
away, and I met James Kotak through UC, hanging out, partying with that guy. I don't even know that guy, and I was saddened by that. So yes, I'm tempted, but I'm also reminded by that reality. I think more than anything, more than watching someone with a hangover or thinking about a hangover, I think about those people that didn't get out of there. So
You know
morbid
that a
stuff
pint
over. Yeah.
Yeah, you know that a pint would turn into a gallon, or more,
For me,
and
for me, it would. Yeah.
the best thing is to stay if you'd like to be sober. I am, but just by choice, not because of a problem. I'm a diabetic, and it's never
Mhm.
that much fun to me. But the best thing you can do is look at somebody who's a drunk and realize, yeah, I'm good. Or see, like you said, see them in the morning when it's lobby call,
Oh,
and there's that one person who hates life, and you think, yeah, I'm okay. There's
yeah.
other pleasures in life, like watching Sanford and Son and what's happening in your hotel room, which you do, which I
I'm.
love.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
like you show me what you're watching, and I go, "That's on TV in Transylvania." No, you bring your laptop, and you'll
Hmm.
watch the playlist. And it's funny is when Stevie told me, he goes, "You'll have a lot in common with Wednesday, I watched this video. I've told the story a bunch of times of bus invaders, where they go on your bus and you show what you watch. And I'm looking at your DVD collection. They go, yeah, we watch this, and we watch The Facts of Life. And I'm like, you know what? I do have a lot in common with this guy. That's the way to make it feel like home. If you put on a TV in these hotels where there's 3 channels and one of them is the
Didn't
How to Make Cheese channel, it could be depressing, and you don't understand what anyone's saying. Although there's sometimes
yes.
nudity in the commercials. That's nice. Sometimes
Well,
other
they're used to, well, nudity's all in Germany.
right.
That's where all
Well,
the
France,
good
they
nude,
like it too. Yeah.
they got the good nude commercials at night. But but for the most part, yeah, it makes you just feel sad watching this. There was no sun. I come into the room. There's only 3 channels, just like on European vacation. There's snow and cheese and the news. And the very first day there was Nicolas Cage's Wicker Man in Polish. So
Right.
basically, you could hear him speaking, but it was just some Polish guy just reading even the women's line in a man voice. So once I brought my laptop in, I just go to YouTube and I type in. I'll sit and watch 80s commercials for hours while I'm just
Yeah.
doing stuff in the room. And the other day I put on 80s movies and I watched. Do you remember My Science Project? That movie?
It sounds familiar. Yeah. What is it? He make a monster or something? What is the?
I don't know. I didn't get through. I started watching it, but it's got everybody in it. It's got Dennis Hopper's the teacher, and the other guy from Christine, not the guy that gets possessed by Christine, his friend, is the other
Okay.
guy. And the dude from Short Circuit, and I can't think of his name. I know all these people. I went, and I know the movie. It was a TriStar movie. I think it had a big budget. It's kind of like a Bill and Ted before Bill and Ted. I think
Yeah.
he's
Fisher
in
Stevens.
school. Yeah, I don't know, but I started
Fisher
watching
Stevens.
it, and yeah, and it got recommended to me, and ended up watching Transylvania 65000. Now I'm watching Three Stooges. It just keeps going.
Fisher Stevens is the actor from Short Circuit, and
Okay.
John 5 is alive. And then yes, John Stockwell is Dennis Hopper. But here's the best person in the movie. Ann Wedgeworth is in My Science Project. And for those of you who might not know who Ann Wedgeworth is, she was on Three's Company. She's the old broad who's always chasing Jack around. And
Oh yeah.
can't remember the character's name off the top of my head, but
But yeah, I started watching that the other day and I fell asleep. But it's on my list to watch because I do remember watching this movie and I think it's good, or it was good.
from what I'm looking at, it looks like something you would enjoy.
Yeah.
She played Lana on Three's Company. One of the interesting things when I watch these shows now is, Jack would run from Lana. He didn't want anything to do with Lana. Like, oh, this crazy woman. I don't know. I think if I was Jack, I would have banged Lana. I mean, I don't know. These
Yeah.
shows are strange. Like, oh boy, not her. I don't know. Who would ever thought when you woke up today in Transylvania, we'd be talking about whether or not you bang Lana, the old broad from.
I like to, that's the fun thing for me is to be in a country like this or a place and just be like, all right, well, what would, you'd expect me to be watching Dracula or something, but like,
Right.
no, I like to bring my world with me and go, I brought it here. Transylvania. I'm in Transylvania, but I brought China Grove, North Carolina with me to Transylvania. It's here.
I think I would watch Dracula also, though. I at least the
I,
1931. Yeah,
I think I'm going to before I leave. We're in Romania for a couple of days, so yeah, I think I'll put
right.
that on tonight and watch it.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
For Valentine's Day, you were on the road, so
Mhm.
I had to celebrate in Burbank without you.
Oh.
we went to Toy on Sunset,
Uh-huh.
and Michelle says, "This movie looks really familiar," and I go, "Yeah." I go, "Oh well, this is Dracula." They have a screen in there, and then
Oh,
I
okay.
go, she goes, "That doesn't look like Renfield." She's now an expert in Renfield, which I like to think I had something to do with. And then I
Right.
go, "Yeah, you're right. That doesn't look like Dwight Fry." And then I realized we were watching the Spanish language Dracula, and
Yeah.
we stayed there long enough. Though when the Spanish language Dracula ended, they then put on Bela Lugosi's Dracula. So we had a
Oh, that's
Valentine's
cool.
Day. Yeah, Dracula Film Festival. A lot of people argue that the Spanish language Dracula is actually better than the Bela Lugosi Dracula. Not the actor who played Dracula, but they what happened is they would film the Bela Lugosi movie during the day, and the Spanish crew would come in at night, and they would see the dailies, and they would improve on it based on what
Oh,
they
okay.
saw. So visually, it's supposed to look better, and I think there's a different soundtrack that people say is really incredible. I've gone to see the double feature in the movie theaters with friends, and after the English Dracula, we all look at each other and we go, "Let's get out of here." And so I've never been able to do back to back English and Spanish Dracula.
Yeah.
You were talking about watching movies in the hotel, or putting the TV on.
Hmm.
Depending on the country, sometimes look, I'm an American, we're very one-minded, one-track minded, but sometimes these other languages sound very angry. Like putting the TV on in Germany, I would be frightened.
Yeah, it's a little weird. That's why I don't usually watch TV on the hotels. I usually like I keep looking over. I got my laptop. I put on YouTube, and the other day I was texting you. I was watching GI Joe. In Poland, there's a live 24/7 GI Joe cartoon channel, and I just keep it on there most of the time too. So just something quick to put on without, because if I put on a movie and I get into it, I'll get behind. So I usually, if I put on like 80s commercials or music or GI Joe, I'm not like totally fascinated with it that much.
Yeah, and you've seen it before, so it's easier to come and go.
Yes.
You sent me a video of your view, and I could hear it in the background. I go, I think he's watching GI Joe, which
Yes.
which is great. I remember when I worked for Trauma, I went to France, the Cannes Film Festival, and
Mhm.
that was my first time traveling abroad. I've traveled with broads, but never abroad. And
Right.
I remember they put us the first year. I did it a few times in this flat, and I put the TV on, and I was jet lagged, and then nothing was in English, and I was just like kind of blown away. And then I got in the elevator with other people who were French, and I realized I don't speak their language, and most of them didn't speak my language. And then I
Right.
started learning the universal, and things like
Mhm.
that. When you're out walking and you already look like a vampire, but do you find most people speak enough English, or what do you do?
Everybody speaks English everywhere we go. You realize pretty quickly you're the dummy there
Right.
when it comes to languages, and that's not something new. That's just been since I've been traveling. Most people at the venues, most people anywhere speak a little bit of English. And what I've noticed more so now, because everything's futuristic now, everything's robotic, everything, like from everything's digital now. Like, so if you go and order food anywhere on these ships or anywhere, it's all digital. Even the grocery stores, you can check out. I was in Estonia when I was texting you, and we had the great ice cream selection. I went up front and it had an English button, and I self checked out, did it all myself, and I had to talk to anybody.
That's
Um,
that's the
yeah,
ideal life.
yeah, and even that, and another cool thing, like we both talk about hotels, and we like cool hotels and views. And the coolest hotel of this tour is the one I sent you that had the ladder in it. It was like the New York loft, and that
Yeah,
was
it looked like
considered
a
a yeah, that was considered a hostel, and it was the nicest of the entire tour. It was like $36, and it was awesome. It had the best Wi-Fi. Um, there was no TV in the room, but there was a giant one downstairs, and a Pac-Man and Mortal Kombat video game machine. It was just I told you, you didn't have to check in. You just showed up at 4 o'clock and you entered your number into the front door. It let you in, and then you had a number for your room. You didn't have to see anyone.
it
But if there
sounds
was an
awesome.
emergency, there was a like a barcode you could scan for someone on site that would come and do whatever. But it was pretty convenient, and it was cool.
I think it sounds great. I mean, the traveling that I do in the States, and you do as well, you're on a bus more, I'm in hotels more because we just do fly dates. You're really out there. But checking into hotels and talking to people and greeting people, a big pain in the ass. The idea of entering a code sounds fantastic.
Yeah, today was a normal hotel, normal check-in. It actually is really nice hotel compared to the ones we've been in. The hostel place, which it wasn't really a hostel because it was everything was private. Was super cool. We've got every other day we get a hotel, I guess, or on our off days of travel, and which is great because there's 17 people on this double decker bus that we're on right now. We're actually sharing a bus with Cradle of Filth, so we ride with them every day. So anyone out there that wonders what it's like to have two goth dudes that are known in the music scene on the same bus, how rock and roll is it? It's we go to sleep. I feel like I've seen him on the bus. I see him more outside the bus than I see him on the bus. So yeah, it's crazy, and people go, "Oh my God, you're traveling! You guys are touring together. It must be insane." I'm like, it's really not.
Kip
It's not.
Winger, Kip Winger told me we're segueing from Cradle of Filth to Kip Winger, but he
Yeah,
told me recently, "I'm never going on another bus tour again." And I go, "Really? Was it that bad?" And then I said, "Well, you on a full size bus or one of these fun wagon?" No, it was a full size bus. And I go, "Well, what did you hate so much?" And I think I could tell the story. I don't think he cared. He
right.
said, "You know what it is? A bunch of late 50s, early 60-year-old men waiting online for the pisser in the middle of the night, and they're all dribbling on the seat, pissing on the floor. I'm never doing it again." And he's right. And he goes, "The food is terrible. You can't stay healthy. You just eat garbage." And he isn't wrong. It's tough. Eating on the road is tough. You stay in shape. Do
I try.
you
It's been tough on the road. I still wear my
showed me the
Fitbit.
ice cream. Oh, you got a Fitbit.
Well,
Nice.
I wear my Fitbit. I'm still watching my calories. I get on stage. On stage is my gym. We get a 50-minute set, and you watch any video, I don't stop. And my Fitbit reports I burn like 400 calories every show. I get about 1,000 steps or more in on stage. But the hardest part is walking around through catering. Like the other day, we had the best catering. They brought in chocolate cake and donuts, and it was just, I cheated that day. It was bad. We all ate a lot of cake, everybody. So it's hard. It's hard.
Mhm.
But these venues, everything's upstairs. You got to walk to everything, so you pretty much get a lot of exercise back and forth. And I just try to stay busy, and because I'm so used to being at home and being on my treadmill and doing my steps and everything. So right now I'm getting 10 to 15,000 steps in a day when I normally get 30, which so my OCD's letting that ride a little bit, but having those little pieces of cake here and there has made me go crazy. I'm looking in the mirror, going, "Oh, I'm getting fat. What's happening?" So
I've
it's
decided that I'm going to lose weight on this cruise I'm going on. Now, I know that's the craziest thing ever because all the food is free all the time. But I don't have much to do. The Stephen Pearcy band, they're only on the boat for 3 days and then they leave.
Mhm.
And once they're gone, I don't know anybody except for Sebastian Bach, who we're not friends with anymore. And and so I'm just gonna. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna walk on the track. They have a track out on the ocean. You can see it beautiful. And
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'll go to the fitness center. And just because there's lots of food on these boats, you don't have to eat bad. The portions are not giant. They eat a lot of fresher things. A lot of bland food on cruises too. Sometimes you got to bring your own seasoning. I mean, I don't do that, but I probably should.
Right.
But I'm gonna. My goal is to trim down on the cruise. This is the longest vacation I've ever been on. And then
Hmm.
when I get off the cruise, I may go to Disney World for a day or two. And I'm a Disney adult, I guess is what they call
Right.
that. And my goal is to come home and just lose a little weight. This schedule that we're on, you're active constantly. We play and then we're off for a month, and then we play a
Right.
show, and then we're off for a month or whatever. And then it's hard to stay consistent. And as you said, the food on the road is tough. You're in
Oh.
countries where there's good food too. I have
And
the
we get
opposite of
catering.
that.
We get catering every day twice.
Right.
So we wake up to a breakfast spread. Uh, it's usually breakfast kind of. I'm not the biggest breakfast unless it's a country Cracker Barrel breakfast, which they don't have here.
Mhm.
We did find bacon in Finland, which was amazing. We had bacon cooking all day. We just called it Bacon Day. We're like, you want some pre-show bacon? Yeah. You want some post-show bacon? Yes, I do.
Mhm.
So we've had a couple of days like that. So we've had catering, and the catering's been really good. Like I normally get like grilled chicken and potatoes, and that's usually my
Do
extravagant
you
meal I have.
do you experiment with some of the local food? Like, I mean, not just like chicken, but like, a dish that, they're famous for?
No, no, not
Transylvania is
all.
famous for their Transylvanian, beef soup. Did you know that?
At this hotel, yes.
Mhm.
No, I don't. I'm so picky. I don't. We could do a whole show on stuff I don't eat or have never tried. Like it would blow people's mind to know that I don't like ketchup, or I don't, or I haven't eaten a hamburger. I've never eaten a hot dog the correct way. If
Well, hold on. What is the incorrect what is the
Well, I mean,
incorrect
I've just
way to eat
never
hot
had like a hot dog, like in a bun, the whole shebang on it. I like hot dogs, but I don't like them in the buns. I like them. I have them chopped up in my macaroni and cheese, like a
Well, I
real
do that too.
Southern adult.
I used to do that too. Yeah, people get
So
very angry about it. But well, Wednesday,
yeah,
since we met, I thought I got it. Wednesday is the perfect sort of co-pilot to do these crazy adventures. And when we went to the Halloween locations, which is a very popular video right now, I never like to intrude on my friends by filming my tour diaries and things. You never know who
Mhm.
wants to be on camera and who doesn't. And so anyway, but you were game to go and have some fun and visit the Benson house with me. And so then I was like, well, we got to go do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and people now are messaging me every day. You guys got to come here and see the which
Yeah.
we're going to do. But so and there was a few other things. We're talking about the Friday the 13th camp. I've been getting a lot of emails with people wanting us to come stay at the camp. But now you've turned me on to a whole new idea, which is introducing you to foods that you would not normally eat.
Oh, you know,
Like you need to have a Chicago hot dog. That would blow your mind.
it's that's the thing. It's not that I haven't eaten it.
You
It's
don't want to.
I can't. My brain. I tell people all the time. They like that show Fear Factor with Joe
Mhm,
Rogan. And they were like, "All right, you got to eat this donkey anus
mhm.
with blah blah blah." And people go, "Oh, I could never do that. Before $1 million, I could do it." You could do that with me at like a fancy restaurant or whatever. Here is the greatest salad. It's the greatest salad dressing. I'll be like, "Ooh, it's like $1 million to eat this salad." I
Well,
don't know that
salad is a no, huh?
I couldn't, I don't think I could do it. I don't
You've never
think
had
I
a
could do it.
salad?
It would be like me eating the Fear Factor, whatever, bull
Yeah.
penis or whatever. That is the same thing to
So
me.
you've
I've
never
just
had a salad.
never.
This is
Not
suddenly
not
this
in my
interview is becoming important.
47 and a half years. No, I haven't.
That's incredible. And no hamburgers?
I've taken one bite of a hamburger and I
What
didn't like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing. Now
I
I'm
didn't try
finally
steak. I didn't try steak till I was on tour with Iron Maiden and we had catering and they didn't have any chicken. And I went, "Well, what am I going to eat?" And they said, "Well, eat this." And I went, "I don't eat that." And they went, "Try it." And I did. And I liked steak. So there's little things I've tried that I've liked over time. But I figure by the time I'm like 70, I could maybe try like who knows, like a full pizza, a regular pizza,
no pizza
pepperoni.
either?
I don't like tomato sauce, so I don't eat.
Mm,
It's
ah,
only like for me, I basically eat like like cheesy bread is my pizza. That's
mhm.
what I like.
You're very Southern. Yeah. It's not it's not Southern Italy. Um,
Mm,
how interesting. Well, I mean, I find as I'm getting older, I try way more things. I was pretty picky, but now I just don't really care. I go, all right, I'll try it. Certain animal product type things I don't like, and I've been vegan before. Um,
right.
Being diabetic was really hard. to maintain that. To be honest, but as I'm older, I try more things. When I was traveling with Trauma to these film festivals, I was broke. I was young, and so
Yeah.
you'd go to these parties and you would eat whatever catering had. And so I would, next thing I know, I'm paella and seafood, which I never liked seafood. And then
Right.
next thing you know, I'm eating all this stuff. And now that I'm older, my palate is a little broader. But I've had every junk food, and this is what's interesting about you because you are such a pop culture person. We both
Mhm.
watched, cartoons and commercials, but yet you don't eat the typical pop culture junk food.
Not at all. And I guess that's a good thing too, because
Mhm.
I would really eat a lot of stuff. And like I said, I when I first started doing your show, what was that, May, maybe something like that we
Oh
did.
yeah.
So last May, I weighed, I think I was 50 pounds heavier than I am now. So since I did your show, I weighed like 195 when I did your show, and I weigh 145 now.
That's
Um,
crazy.
and I just went on a crazy diet during COVID. I got depressed and started eating, and I put on a ton of weight. I couldn't believe it. And I went on tour and I felt miserable. And last year I was like, never again. I got this Fitbit on. I started walking, and that's when I started my crazy exercise obsession. But I tried to do it different than I did in the past. Like there was a couple of years ago, like before COVID, I got so crazy losing weight. I got down to like 130. And I was like skeletal looking. Like I didn't realize how bad I went a whole year and I didn't eat solid food. I literally just drank shakes all day, twice a day. I didn't have one solid meal for a year. I was like, well,
Mhm,
I'm vegetarian. I'm not eating meat. I'm not
mhm,
eating anything. I'm just drinking my food. So I have the crazy potential to be this with eating and stuff. So I feel really guilty whenever I had a couple pieces of cake the other day. Like I'm literally looking in the mirror going, "Oh man, oh no." And I'll look at pictures. So I'm a crazy person when it comes to that, but um yeah, but I'm being better about it, and I'm not disciplining myself where I'm not trying things like that. I have an ice cream after every single show. It's on the thing with our tour manager. He gets me grilled chicken, and I get a ice cream bar after the show. So
It's like
doing
Joey
better.
Ramone with the uh, what did they feed him in Rock and Roll High School? You know what I'm talking about? I can't think of the
Yeah,
name of the
yeah,
wheat
yeah.
germ. Wheat germ. Yeah,
Yes.
they feed him. They feed him his wheat germ after the show. Well, I'm fascinated now even more to see what you're going to eat at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre barbecue. Now,
Oh,
you're
I'll go
Southern.
crazy there. I love barbecue. I will barbecue it up. The fixins, I like most of the fixin stuff until it gets into like green beans and that kind of. When they start getting the fancy vegetable, I get out of there. But
You
I
can't
eat
take
most of it.
You
Yeah.
could take the boy out of North Carolina or whatever they say, but, uh, it's so fascinating now because now I have to compile a list, and maybe we'll play a game on the show. What would Wednesday eat? And
Oh, I'm telling you, you would be like it is literally everything I don't eat. I don't eat seafood. My bass player, like on this tour, we get chicken every night, right? And sometimes they'll put it in some sauce, and I like, don't tell me what it is. If you tell me what it is, I'm not going to eat it. So the other day, food's awesome. I'm taking a bite. Troy goes, "Oh man, I got some pretty good mushroom sauce on that," and I literally just went, raked it off my tongue, and went, "You're fired."
yeah,
I
that's it.
didn't fire him, but close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How interesting, boy.
Ugh, I wish I wasn't like that. It sucks, but I
I
but I
knew you were
can't.
OCD. I mean, that I know, and I knew that you're
Oof.
particular about. But I am too. And most people, we're both nuts. But your eating habits are fascinating.
They're
Yeah, I can't
terrible.
believe like you've never been to White Castle or some of these American staples. They're not very good, but it
Yeah,
feels
I
like
mean, I like I like chicken. So if most places have chicken now, like so,
Mhm.
I can always like the other day I had McDonald's. I had chicken nuggets the other day. I had to. We came out of we went through Finland and I the catering was just it was too colorful for me. Everyone's like, oh, it's great. It was just meat with lots of different colors and sauces, and it just looked like I said it looks too Crayola to me. I'm out. So that
What
day, I literally had a cheese sandwich. That was my food. So,
what
uh,
kind of sauce do you use with your chicken nuggets?
well, usually it's only barbecue. Today, we went somewhere and I asked for sauce, and they said, "Do you want sauce?" And I went, "What do you have?" And they they didn't even have any sauce. Like, well, why are you asking me? And they were like, "Oh yeah." They asked for ketchup and they got pizza sauce. So
Yeah,
when
that's
it
a
does come to sauce, I'm a big fan of the Buffalo Wild Wings sauce. I like hot sauces, but I'm
mm,
not too crazy on like heat. But I do like mild, hot stuff like that. So I am getting acceptable with sauces.
fascinating Wednesday.
Yeah, oh, it
You're-
is.
you're-
It's a whole other story with the food I eat. Or
And
don't.
in your relationships in life,
Mhm.
do the other people think you're nuts, or they just have gotten used to your eating?
Um, I think they're just gotten used to it. Like my lady, she knows how to cook for me. We can still go to restaurants and not be like, okay, can we not go to McDonald's? Like I don't go to McDonald's, but like, most places have grilled chicken plates. I do eat steak occasionally. I can't eat it all the time. But most
And
places
she
have like,
eats she
yeah,
eats normal though, right?
pretty normal. I mean, she's not a big meat eater, so she does like salmon and vegetables and stuff like
That's
that.
gotta
But
blow your mind.
yeah, but like she eats a lot of stuff like when she eats like broccoli, like she got broccoli one time in my brand new car and it smelled it up and I didn't talk to her for 2 days.
Mhm. Yeah, broccoli's
Yeah.
gross.
So I'm weird,
What about
but I'm
mayonnaise?
forgiving.
I think mayonnaise is gross.
No,
It's gross.
no, that mustard, anything, just
I'm
any.
okay with mustard. I like mustard, but I don't like mayonnaise, and I don't like egg salad.
Oh no. Here's the thing. I love scrambled eggs. Won't eat a
Mhm.
boiled egg, egg
Me too.
salad, any other egg being used on something freaks me out.
No,
Just don't
scrambled
tell
or
me
no.
about it. Yeah, scrambled are good. I like fried eggs too. I can do that.
I don't think I would even do that. I don't think.
Yeah.
What's a fried
So
egg? Like that's like where you see the white and the yellow.
yeah, and I like it. I like it where you can still leave the yellow or a little, as they say, a little runny
Mhm.
eggs.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This
So
bread pudding is extra runny tonight. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I couldn't do. I think maybe it's a southern thing. Did
it
your
is a southern
family
thing.
think you were nuts?
Basically, the reason I eat eggs that way is because my mother, up until I was 18, she forced me to eat grits and eggs every morning before I went to school. Like she would get up and not instant grits, she'd cook them on the stove. The same way you hear about my cousin Vinny. It takes 15 minutes to bring it to a boil, and then you add in the grits. The
Mhm.
whole thing, grits and eggs, to the point where I was sick of it. Now I crave it because I miss it. But yeah, grits, fried eggs, stirred up in your grits, bacon. Um, my mom even used to do white rice and eggs, which I found out is what fried rice, fried something. Or oh, that's basically Chinese food. I'm like, it was Southern breakfast for me.
Yeah. Well, the more we chat, the more fascinating.
I just started drinking water this week. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I would. I might have believed you. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I might have believed you, but that's why I want to take you to all these crazy places like theme parks and things, but you don't really like being around so much, and I don't
yeah.
think you appreciate some of the ridiculous things that go with it. Like these people go to these theme parks to brag about the insane food that they ate, and most of it's garbage. But boy, you
Right.
would hate it. You would hate most of it.
Yeah, I go to Universal Studios. We go there quite a bit. We usually
Mhm.
get a season pass and do that, and but I don't really. ever get anything when I go there. I think we get like some popcorn from that one place. It's like in a cone. I don't know what that place is.
Mhm.
And if I'm feeling it, I'll get like a blue Slurpee from somewhere because I just got to have a Slurpee, whether I finish it or not.
Would you
Um,
drink butterbeer?
no, I wouldn't. You
Too
know what?
adventurous.
Even when I drink, I didn't like beer,
Well,
and
it's
I
not
don't.
beer. It's not a real beer. It has no alcohol in it, and it doesn't taste anything like beer. It tastes like cream soda, but that might be too much for you too.
Well, cream soda I like. Root beer I don't like.
It's more
So
it's more cream soda. It has
yeah,
it has like a soft top though, like on it, like a cream, like a
I
marshmallow
would
kind
do
of.
that. I would do that. I like cream sodas. I'm not that weird, so I would try that.
When you go home, we're gonna go to Universal. They
Okay.
just opened a Universal Monsters store there.
Okay.
It's a little underwhelming, but it's still cool to see that the monsters have their own store. But we're gonna go and
All right.
we're gonna see what you would eat and what you wouldn't. They just opened a new uh, Super Nintendo
Oh,
restaurant.
I heard about that. Yeah.
I had a calzone. You wouldn't have that. I know it.
I don't even know what a calzone is.
It's like a stuffed pizza thing, and so there's tomato sauce in it.
Oh,
It's a it's a
they'd have to
crust.
simplify it for me. I'm still just learning about Mexican food like now. I started quesadillas when I started eating chicken cheese quesadillas, but I
Mhm.
didn't try that till I lived in LA. Now I'm
Well,
thinking
LA is a good place.
a burrito
Yeah.
might be in the works for me. I didn't realize. I'm like, hey, that's just a little pouch full of food. We could put rice and chicken in it.
Mhm.
See, these are like new things to me. They're like it's like discovering a new land when I discover a food that I like.
Well, and you we talked about it. You're quite the world traveler. It's funny that you've been all over the world, and I'm trying to push butterbeer on you.
Yes.
Now I'm thinking of everything in Universal, but we're gonna go. I have a
Okay.
season pass. We're gonna go. We'll go during the week on a day when there's not a lot of people there. That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
And
that's how we normally do it. So we'll definitely do that next time.
yeah, and we'll experiment with the different things. I gotta mention when we took our Halloween tour. At the end of the tour, we ended up at Benson's house, and it's become a running joke between you and I. The other
Hmm.
day, I'm in a toy store here in Las Vegas called Brad's Toys in the Galleria Mall. Very cool store, and the Benson theme comes on out of nowhere, and I so I would well, and I'm in front of the Halloween toys, Michael Myers, well, actually, it was a Dr. Loomis and Jamie Lee Curtis toy, Halloween too. And I go, well, I got to film this and send it to Wednesday. He'll never believe. Now, it would have been one thing if it was like one of those TV's greatest hits CDs. Okay, Benson could come on. No, they were playing like anime cartoon music, and then the
So
Benson theme, and then back to like
bizarre.
shit that I've never heard of. It wasn't like Different Strokes was next, you know. It was just the Benson, and not one person. I wanted to walk around and go, "Do you know what song this is?" I wanted to ask everybody in the store. Ever heard of Benson? No, nobody knew how this got on there. I'll never
Yeah, it's
know.
so weird. It was like they knew someone knew. The government's listening to you.
That's possible. Yeah, that's possible. When I look at the things get suggested to me, somebody's listening. But Wednesday, what
Yeah.
time is it there now?
Oh, that's a good question. My Fitbit says it's 1:12.
One twelve.
I think yeah,
Yeah,
1:12 in the morning. Yeah. So I have to be up. I think we have a later load in tomorrow. Our load in is usually at 11 a.m. every day, um, which is good for me because I'm up early. Um,
you're the
so yeah,
lead
I normally
singer. What are you
yeah.
loading in?
Oh, I don't load in. I usually go in and set up the dressing room because that's sort of my we have so many people on that bus. Like I'm kind of ready to get off the bus. I sleep on the bus, do my coffee there, pack my bag, and then we usually go on the venue. And the past couple of days, the backstage area hasn't been the greatest, but we made it. We made it work. So I heard tomorrow there's laundry. My clothes smell so bad. My stage clothes, and I thought they were really bad, but it was my drummer's clothes beside of mine. So I'm more happy for him to get laundry tomorrow because he smells horrible. His stage clothes,
Mm.
they're walking on their own, and so yeah, I'm due to do some laundry tomorrow. So uh, looking forward to that. And also, I get to walk around in the daytime because we got here kind of late in the afternoon. So I'll get to go around tomorrow and look around and see some more stuff. And yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff. I don't think I have a busy day tomorrow. So yeah, it's a whole lot of waiting around. I mean, we don't sound
Yeah.
check till about 3 or 4. My VIPs are right after. We have dinner at 5 or 6. We play at 8:15 every night. I have to get dressed by 7. So it's sort of like a schedule. And then I'm done with my show. I look for my ice cream. I take my shower, and then I
We
go
don't.
to bed.
Yeah.
And I go to bed. That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, that's life. Life on the road. It could be worse. It could be
You
worse.
know, I'm not, and again, this is so much fun. Like I told my band this week, I was like, how cool is it? We get to go to Transylvania
Mhm.
for doing this. This is the coolest, and so it's like a vacation, and being at work. It's like especially this week because I'm going to places that I've never been, and I'll be able to hopefully have memories of that forever. I'm never going to forget being in Transylvania, having a day off, and now you get to remember it too. So you've kind of been here through me a little bit.
I've been there by association, and so has
Yeah,
our audience. Um,
yeah,
I tell people all the time if they're new to touring or traveling that stop and smell the roses. Look around. It's easy to get into the shuffle of this lifestyle and get so
yeah,
busy that you didn't really get to enjoy it and see things. I'm the one who's up every morning going to see something new because most of these places I'm never going to get back to. It's not easy. You sacrifice sleep to do
yeah,
it. But sometimes you make memories that are crazy, and you do say to yourself, even on these cruises, like I went to Haiti. That's ridiculous.
yeah.
When was I ever going to go to Haiti? But and just all these kind of memories that you make. But sometimes, even when I'm sure for you, when you play some of these famous venues, you stop and look around and think about the people who played that venue before
Yeah. I think
and the
I was
honor.
just I was telling you recently we just played Helsinki, and I
Mhm.
was talking to the drummer of 69 Eyes, UC, and he was telling me all the history of the place, and the place we just played, uh, I believe, is where Hanoi Rocks' Bangkok Shocks album cover was taken on that stage. That's what UC told me, and said that Hanoi Rocks were discovered in that venue, playing that venue because they were the weird glam punk band that no one knew what they were. Like, so he was telling me the whole story of that. So yeah, there's history within the venues, but outside, like you said, I'm trying to do that as I get older too. Like, just go out and see everything. Even if I lose an hour's sleep, it's worth going and taking that trip to go, you know what? I went out and walked through Transylvania today.
Yeah,
That's cool, and we went out walking for a couple hours today, and I could have easily just went, oh, I'm tired. I want I want to sleep and catch up on it. But I'm remembering that. And I think I heard Stevie Rochelle say this on one of his posts. He's like, how many summers do I have left? The
oh yeah.
average person living till, you know what I mean? What he said, I got 25 summers ahead of me if I'm lucky, or I don't know how many is ahead of me, but I try to think about things like that and go
I
out
think
and,
about it
and yeah,
constantly, yeah. I think
yeah,
about how many people go, "Boy, you go really crazy with these holidays." I go, "How many more do I got?" Yeah, I'm gonna live
yeah,
it up. Nothing is guaranteed. Some people think that's a depressing way to live. I think it's the best way. I'm doing more now than I would have. When you tour, everyone has a different personality. Some people don't want to see anything. They were already
mhm,
beat up from the road. I've seen it. I don't care. Some people are cheap, and I'm not going to spend a penny. I
yeah,
don't. Neither one of those things apply to me. In 6 months or 6 days, I won't remember what I spent money on. I won't remember the. I won't remember that I didn't get that hour of sleep, but I will remember the things that I did that were fun. And so, for those who are watching, who are getting started in this crazy business, nowadays people show the pulled back, the cover version of what it's really like.
yeah,
To tour. It's a little bit different, but still really fun. I don't think I would go to half the places I went to, or maybe more than that, if it wasn't for work. If you told
yeah,
me we're getting on a plane. We recently had in Australia offered. You've been there 7, 8 times, right, or more?
More than that. I think someone told me they've seen us 15 or 16 times there, and that's
Yeah,
over 20 years, so a lot.
that's insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and so for me, I'm not going anywhere unless it's my job, and then I have this ethic where I have to go. If everyone else is going, I've got to go. And then sometimes I go, you know what? I enjoyed that. I know it's beautiful. I'd love to do it, but in my mind, everything has to be for work. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I'll go to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre barbecue, but
Yeah.
otherwise, it's got to be for work. If it's work, I'll go.
I don't think I would travel or see the places that I've seen without it being a part of the tour. Like sure is, I mean, I've always said, oh, I would love to go to Transylvania. Well, was I ever going to go? Probably not. It just so happened that we were close. We were supposed to spend the day off in the Czech Republic yesterday, and I was like, hey, what if we didn't?
Mhm.
So but yeah, it's awesome to go to these places. I like certain places better than other places. I hate to pick favorites, but I have to. Australia being one of them. That is the longest flight, but the reward from the audience is so worth it to me.
Mhm.
And every time we go to Australia, we don't fly first class. It's usually a full flight there, but almost every time we flew back, it's been a not full flight, and each of us got our own rows. So good things happen out of those long flights. But and I've told you of all the places, I think you would really like Australia if you could get past the long flight because
Yeah, well,
it's the closest thing to America I think that there is that I've been to. I mean, as far as just it just seems more like it. They got Uber Eats and and you can understand it.
did you try the Vegemite?
Someone tried to get me to try it, and I'm like, you don't know me. I'm not going to try this. There's some
That's
other
pushing
thing.
it.
Yeah, there's something else too that they have there that's like peanut butter or something. Someone even mailed it to me, and I still didn't try it.
Well, now everyone's going to be trying to, everyone's going to be coming on the show to stump you. Official Wednesday13.com. Go on there, check out his tour dates. I hope to see you in Las Vegas. I'll probably see you before that, but you'll be here with the
Yeah.
Six New World Festival, and then you'll be on tour in Europe again. All the dates are there. Go right. You're going to Europe with Hardcore Superstar, right?
Yeah, well, it starts in the UK October 24th, leading up to Halloween. So I think it's a full 2 weeks in the UK. It's a headline. Hardcore Superstars on 4 or 5 of those shows, and then we go into Europe, and then we switch and we are support for them, and they're the headliner throughout Europe. But before we do that. I haven't got it booked fully yet, but we're working on it. There will be another full USA run, probably another 32 shows in the States between August and October 1st. So that's going to be another
Great.
US run. And I have to record a new album before that. So
Yeah, I got
I'm going to
all
be
in that
busy.
time. Yeah, that's a lot to do. I think
Yeah.
this upcoming USA run will be even bigger than the last one because of how great the reception was and how much social media has reflected it and how much people have talked about it. And people are going to tell their friends and people want to
Yeah.
hear that music and they want to see you. So I
And
think
we've gotten better. We've gotten better at it. Like
Mhm.
that's one thing I noticed. Like I mean, not that it was bad before, but or anything. It's just we've got it perfect now. Like it's for me, it's like it. I was overthinking it. I think I told you I had to think about it. I had to relearn how to do that. Now it's just clockwork. It works perfect. So yeah, we're playing the songs better. The words got around, so I hope it will be bigger. And we're gonna change the show up a bit, change the songs up a bit, change the visual up a little bit. I'm sure I'll change my jacket up, get a new
Mhm.
hat. You know,
Those are good. Those are good
yeah.
things. Anyway, if people have enjoyed seeing two grown men with black hair and eyeliner talking from Las Vegas to Transylvania, make sure you subscribe so you can get more of this. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when I'm on here. Monday is the tour diaries. I premiered one on Monday, and then this is pre-recorded for those who've just figured it out. But then
Right.
Wednesday is the live show, which is when this is airing. And then Friday is interviews, and I thank you for introducing me to Calico
Oh,
Cooper. I
cool.
had her on, and it was a fun interview. She was very easy to talk to. When you do these interviews, sometimes you're pulling teeth. Obviously, she's from a theatric background. She's an actress herself, a singer, a comedian, everything. So, but it was a good chat. And unfortunately, I uploaded the video in like some weird thing where it's not like super high def. People are very choosy Wednesday. They're like, this
Really?
isn't 4K. I'm like, who the fuck cares? You know what I mean? Back in the
What?
day, people had to move their rabbit ears to watch black and white television.
This
The
guy
same.
did. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So, but anyway, but that interview's out there now, and everyone can take a look. And I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm going to try to do a tour diary from the cruise every day, 8 days. Every day, I'm going to try to show people something new. I think it'll be fun. I've been on this boat before, so I know the layout, and it'll be an interesting experience. I think people sometimes live vicarious, like stories you're telling, stories I tell, showing a boat. A lot of
Yeah.
people will never go on a cruise, more or less a 1980s. They're going to play 80s music in the hallways at all times. They have channels that only show 80s movies. It sounds kind of, if they do it right, and it's not cheesy, like, or if it's not like, oh, just hang a Breakfast Club poster over there, that's good enough. If they
Cut.
really get it.
If you want to hear something weird, last night we played we were in the Czech Republic in this town. I'm saying it wrong, but it looks like Bruno. That's what I said. Hey,
Mhm.
Bruno. So before we went on stage, like in between the bands, there's house music, but we were like on the other side. So I guess it was being played all in the venue. And I was hearing like Aerosmith, Don't Want to Miss a Thing playing, the Cradle of Filth show. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And as soon as they were done, this like before we played, it was, it was that. And then soon as Cradle of Filth was done, Brian Adams' Heaven came on.
Wow, of all the songs
I'm just
too.
like, what fucking DJ is doing this? And it totally reminded me of Murderdolls playing 20 years ago in Germany somewhere. And as soon as we got done, we come back out and it turned into like some disco club. And there was 200 people dancing their hearts out to the Stars song. We're stars.
Mhm. Matt Thorne was on it, hearing it.
I could not believe that was being played. And they were like, people were like fist punching, like punching out their rage to it. So Europe has got some they got some good
How
music
weird.
going on over here too. So
I'd be remiss not to mention, Brian Adams did have a heavy metal song. Did you know this? He wrote a very famous hard rock heavy metal song, and that song was later stolen, in my opinion, by Stone Temple Pilots. So, do you know the song?
really, I didn't.
He wrote.
I someone was telling Brian Adams wrote. God, we played something there. Or was it Rick Springfield? Maybe okay, maybe in Rick Springfield. But yeah,
Well,
but
I'm a bigger Rick Springfield fan personally, but Brian Adams wrote the song or co-wrote the song "War Machine" by Kiss, and
oh, that's right. You told me that.
yeah, and if you listen to the riff to War Machine, and then you listen to a sex type thing, it's the same exact riff.
It is.
Yeah, same.
You know, I can't find this online anymore, but I know I heard it, and it wasn't in a dream. But Alice Cooper's "Poison"
Mhm.
is originally a song from John Waite from Bad English,
Mm,
and it's different words. And I heard it.
I'm
I
gonna
know it
research.
exists.
I'm gonna
Somebody find
research
it.
it. It makes sense because Desmond Child did both, worked with Waite and worked with Alice. A friend of mine who lives in Vegas, his name is Louis Merlino. He was a session
Mhm.
singer. He was a singer in a lot of bands, but he sang backups on Poison. That's him singing all those high parts. And he also
Ah,
sang with a lot of John Waite songs. So it makes sense. I mean, there's Desmond Child was known to reuse songs if it wasn't a hit.
yeah.
Uh, uh,
I,
Living on a
I don't
Prayer.
think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was called Poison, but you
No,
can hear it.
he changed
Yeah.
his name. The There's a song, if it's out now, if God was a woman and you were a man or whatever.
Mhm.
Anyways, Bonnie Tyler basically wrote "Living on a Prayer." It was the same. Desmond wrote it for her, It wasn't a hit, and then he put it out again. Someone in the comments will know it all. But yeah, he's known for
Interesting.
reusing. So people,
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
there was on YouTube. There used to be a clip of it, and I can't find it anymore because I was trying to tell someone like, "Oh, that was a John Waite song," and they're like, "No, it's not," but I think it is.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out. Believe me, these people in the comments, anything that we've said that might be mildly off, they will correct us and
Oh yeah,
and
that's
say
what the
we
internet's
suck.
good for.
Yeah, and that we should grow up, and that you should eat a hamburger. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, official Wednesday13.com. I'm going to get back to packing and get ready to go hit the open seas. You're going to get back to the world of Transylvania, which to me is
Yeah.
crazy and cool, and keep playing the music for the people. So thank you, Wednesday, and when I get back, we'll check in again and see where you're up to, and then we'll get together. We're both getting back to the mainland, as they say,
Yeah.
around the same time. Well, I'm
Yeah, I'm
sure we'll
back
check.
March 10th. I'll be back in LA and I'm home for a while. We get the one off in Vegas, but I'll be back. I'm home for a couple months. So
I'm going to see if I can get them to play the Benson theme on the '80s cruise. I feel like it
oh,
would be a necessary thing. The thing with this '80s cruise is nobody on the boat probably lived in the '80s. It's going to be all these young, people who have,
probably.
they don't know they don't know Benson. Speaking of playing music, I should point out before we go, when I fly on a plane on Southwest, for example, where it's
Mhm.
open seating, I keep my cell phone in my pocket, and what I usually do is I put my Michael Myers bag up on my lap, and then I play Tubular Bells in my pocket. And so
And that
as
works?
it usually works. And one time Johnny said, "You're going to catch somebody like you." And then I thought, well, that'd be like a hot goth chick who's into Halloween movies. And I encourage
Yeah.
that for a long flight. So, but most people walking by hear Tubular Bells and they start to look around. And yeah, if there's another seat, they'll take it. They probably don't
You
want to sit
could
next.
you could bring a fake baby.
That's true too. Yeah, that is a thing.
That would get me not to sit next to you. I'd be like, well, no way. And
Yeah.
then later on, you could like push the baby soft spot in and freak everybody out for later
Mhm.
on in the flight.
When we go to Texas, maybe we'll bring a fake baby, like one of those Larry Cohen "It's Alive" babies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, Wednesday, I'll let you get back to real life. Although your real life is much like fantasy to most people.
It is. It is.
Another day at the office. All right, like, comment, subscribe, check out official Wednesday 13, and I will see you again. Who knows? If as long as the boat doesn't